This video is the part 3 to a 3-part series of Swamp Bushcraft in Florida. The previous video, number 2, is with a group, and so is this one. It's the continuation. So if you haven't seen number 2, please go back and watch it. I hope you enjoy it. Alright, we're on the other side. And this is clearly some higher ground right here. It is hopefully we're still crossing, but the water's at least refreshing. But hopefully this is an area where we'll find some good ground to make camp. This adventure, keep in mind, is on public land. It's your land. Look at how sweet that is. It's a little tortoise. He's hunkered up in his shell, not coming out. That's fine. But that's such a cool find. We could go ahead and eat him if we really wanted to, but we're not gonna. We're gonna let him go. Okay, we have picked a site to make camp. We have trekked into the middle of the damn swamp. Found some flat land though that's slightly elevated. And the reason that this has been so challenging to figure out where to go is that this area flooded recently. So a lot of what the maps will say is creeks or waterways have actually been increased, enhanced in size, and then there's branches coming off of those, and so that's what makes it so tricky to move. But this will be camp for probably the next 3 days. Look at this. I think it's a mushroom, but look at this thing. It's got like these 3 lobes which are all connected, this like black tar type substance inside. And I'm fascinated with mushrooms. I'm still learning a lot about them. I really enjoy eating them. But the crazy thing is this smells like a dead animal, almost like rotting fruit, like breadfruit or I don't know. I imagine maybe that smell is either to deter something or to lure something in, but I don't see how it would capture any insects like there are carnivorous plants, but I don't know. And then the bulb you can see at the bottom, there's a couple little roots off the bulb. It's just a really, really strange mushroom. By the time I edit this video, I'm pretty certain that I will have a name for this and what this is, and I will post it right underneath here. But as for now, I don't know what this is. I've never seen it before, but it is cool looking. Here we go, some beautiful chickweed, lovely edible that is very, very tasty, nice mild flavor, get a little sweetness to it. Here's another wild edible called cleavers right here, 8 leaves, you can see right there. And another one, look at this, finding this disturbed soil on the side of trails is always a good place to look for weeds. This is hawksbeard, leaves are edible, so we'll add that to the pile and we'll end up with a really nice salad tonight. We're expecting rain to come in, and so what we're going to do is put up a communal shelter, which is going to build basically like a roof using a couple of already standing trees. We're going to very much minimize the amount of live stuff that we need to cut, which is really only going to boil down to 2 poles. Everything else can be dead. And we're going to get a roof on top of us with the fire underneath, protected from the rain, keep our firewood dry and keep us dry. This shelter is just going to be a simple roof. A slight lean-to angle to allow water to drain off. We'll have 2 main supports horizontally and then several cross members all tied to the main supports with vines. Then we'll use thinner, supple branches to weave over and under between all the cross members. This will reduce the gaps and also create strength. Saw palmetto fronds will be used for the actual cover, and we'll place them from the bottom all the way to the top of our roof, just like shingling a normal roof. Overlapping is important when you do this to create no gaps so that the water can get through. We can now stay dry and keep our fire protected from the rain with this roof. We even created a cool little bench to sit down on. And we're keeping ourselves busy by crafting things such as these wooden spoons. Gabe's testing out his new auger here and try and make a variation of the Swedish, I think it's called the Swedish torch stove or something like that. Bore a hole from the top, bore a hole from the side, two holes meet up together, get a little fire going in the bottom hole, and then the flames should come out the top. Cook on it. This stove burned for 4 hours, and I would certainly use this bushcraft tool again. Taking some really basic food rations when you're not having any success with hunting or foraging is really helpful to just keep the energy levels at an acceptable level. This meal is simple oatmeal mixed with some raisins, bit of coconut oil, and some water. This method doesn't take much water, which is great if you don't have much water at hand, and I prefer the taste to the normal way of making it as a porridge. Yummy! That's going to be good energy. Time to go fishing again. A lot of minnows around. We're going to see if we can catch some minnows. I've got my mosquito head net, forked branch right here, 20 gauge trapping wire, and cinch that in. The nice thing about wire is you don't need any knots. Okay, then we have that. So what I'm going to do is chop these ends off right here. Okay, now this head net right here is elasticated, which is pretty awesome. Okay, one around there, and this is going to pull all the way back. You see there's a little node right here. Clip this on the, just flip that on the node for now. I'm going to wrap this wire around here. Doesn't need to support too much weight. It's just for minnows. There we go. So fairly successful, got 3 minnows with the net, but it's would have liked to get more, but the reflection of the water is so tough to see them and they're fast. But that's a start, so take a walk out in a little bit and go and see if we can use these guys to catch something bigger. We got all of our minnows chewed off last night of our hooks, and I think because of crawdad, so we might make a crawdad trap and try and get some of them tonight. But nice deep water, close access, which is quite tough because if you look at the other side you can see it's all a cypress. It kind of look like mangroves, and to try and get through that to the water is very, very difficult, whereas on this side we've got a nice clear cut bank, which is great. A little access point right here. So I was drinking some water and I noticed this little guy, and you can see it's a little snail. And I think that if I pull him out of the shell, he might be good bait. Alright, let me get this on a hook. You like my outfit? Sexy. Yeah, well that's what I needed to do, because I needed to jump in the water and dislodge this guy from underneath the root. So anyway, first fish on, which is really exciting because we've been having a tough time this trip in Florida. There's been a lot of rain and a lot of flooding on this river. I actually just ran into a forest ranger right now. We had a good chat and he was telling me that everything is flooded, and it's be a very tough time to come on pigs. So this is probably why we're experiencing tough times. So we're just trying to capitalize on some fish, maybe even set some traps, and we're going to focus a little more on raccoon at this point. But yeah, we're desperate for some protein. So this is a start. If we can get a few more of these, we'd be happy. We'll just keep trying. Well, the bad weather has arrived. It is raining pretty heavily and it is fairly windy. We've all hunkered down in our hammocks and underneath our tarps. Our shelter worked out really well by the fire. That kept us dry for ages, but it's 7:30 now and it's picked up quite a bit. The cross breeze is bringing some rain underneath that shelter, so we're going to hunker down and see what the weather brings. It's 1:30 in the morning, and who would have thought in Florida it is freezing to the point where I cannot fall asleep. Time to get a fire going and try and warm up. The fat wood saved the day. Able to get a fire wood going even though it was pissing down rain a few hours ago. And the warmth is so welcomed. Just been doing some push-ups. Already starting to feel better. Okay, back in the hammock now and so much warmer. I pulled out a little trick out of my sleeve. Take a stainless steel water bottle, like a clean canteen water bottle, that's the one I always carry. Boil up a bunch of water in it at the fire and then immediately take it off the fire. Once it's reached a boil, put the lid on and put it, you have to have some sort of insulative case for it though. Mine is like a little canvas case. I'll put it inside there and then I will put it inside my sleeping bag with me, and that'll radiate heat for at least a good 4 to 5 hours, typically even longer than that. So huge difference, and I'm so much more comfortable, so hopefully I'll get some sleep. Yep, survived the night. That was very unpleasant. Tonight's meant to be colder, so I'll have to set up something. I have to figure out what I'm going to do with my tarp and my hammock. Probably just make something on the ground this time instead of freezing through the actual hammock. But I want to show you, check out this spoon. Made a spoon yesterday with this really cool tool right here, which is Maracniv. You know, Mora makes this really cool tool to carve out spoons and cups with right here. Not very expensive, and they do make a kit, a wood carving kit, which includes this too. So you can carve all sorts of things like bowls and spoons and cups. Really cool little kit. Recommend checking it out. Alright, so I think that it is going to be time to make a trap for crawfish, freshwater crayfish, crawdads, whatever you want to call them. There's a lot of vines in the area, some good materials. This is sort of a half-a-day project to get a good trap made. So I have the fish head left over from yesterday as bait, so we've got everything we need. So these are the vines right here. You can see those in my hand right there. You can see there, got varying thicknesses, and we're going to start the weaving process. So we have saw palmetto fronds, which are going to be the main frame. Got 7 of them, so an odd number, which makes sense with the weaving, so that each 7th it'll change from an underlap to an overlap, and that way we get an even weave, or should I say an alternating weave, throughout the course of the trap. So as you can see, I've got each one of these pieces dug into the ground. That gives me the round shape, and it holds it nice and stable while I can start the weaving process at the bottom. It's cone shaped. It's roughly the length of my arm. It's plenty long enough for a bunch of crawdads. There we go, there's the start. I typically like to use thicker vines for the start because they're more rigid and it'll keep the nice circular shape for the opening of the trap. And then of course it's tied together at the top over here. So right now everything should be held together pretty good. Now it makes it real easy for me to just keep on weaving all the way to the top. Once I get a good sort of few inches up, it should all stay together pretty good, so I could then pull it out of the ground if I wanted. And then sometimes it's just easier free-handed to manipulate the trap in order to create the weave instead of doing it all in place like this. But it has a lot to do with the materials you're using. Okay, there we go. One basket fish trap right there. That's the first basket. Now I'm just going to make the funnel and the funnel cone for the entrance. Taking this vine here, wound it up in a nice circle, and see how that will fit directly in at the entrance of the main fish trap. So what I'll do now is take this, place it on the ground, and once again we'll use palm fronds right here, stick them in between these vines to then create our funnel, and it'll go on the ground again. We've got 5 of these palm fronds pushed into the ground once again, sort of angled up towards the middle. Of course I'm not going to tie them off this time because I actually want the opening, but I will, as I'm weaving, compress a little bit. So there we go, that's our the opening, the entrance for our funnel, and then it's going to taper down to roughly about the size of, a little bit bigger than a golf ball for crawdads. And there we have it, the second funnel. There's a little hole right there. And what we'll do here is take a big funnel, and this fits inside right there. So what I'll do is get a couple sticks and I'll push them at an angle, probably about 3, and that'll hold the top funnel in place into the main fish funnel. And then of course when you want to remove it, you just pull those 3 out, pull this out, and then hopefully have a bunch of crawdads inside that you can remove from the trap. So there's a variety of styles, ways you can sort of weave these. So I like to go for the quickest because these take time, definitely take time. We've got the fish head right here from yesterday, and then just skewer through the head, through the flesh, like that. Yeah, because I don't want that head sliding around on here. Push it through so you'll see it come out this side right here. Okay, and then we'll find likewise opening on the other side. See the fish right there in the dead center? It's not moving. Doesn't matter which way the trap rolls, the head's staying in the middle. If you don't secure it and you just chuck it in the water, they will reach through with their pincers and eat the bait without going into the trap. Fish, not so much, but with crawdads and shrimp, they'll do that. So it's very important to secure the bait in there. Push it in right there, just like that. Do another one here. Maybe I'll bend this over and just find another little area to slot that. There's no gaps at all. Okay, you can see right down the funnel, you can see the fish head. Everything looks exactly how it should be. Now we'll see if we can actually catch something with it. So I'm gonna go chuck it in the water. All right, let's take a quick peek. I'm just interested to see if there's anything in the trap. It's been in the water for a few hours, and maybe there's something in there. If not, well, I'd be more expecting there to be something in there tomorrow after a night of them being active. So let's take a quick look. Nope, nothing yet. Yeah, I think they're going to be way more active at night, so chuck it back in there and then we'll check in the morning. Myself and Cole are going to take a walk out soon, sun's setting, and we're going to give one last attempt at hunting something. We have been skunked this trip. There's just, due to the flooding in this area, the recent flooding, it's just displaced so much of the wildlife and even the fish. It's really been a tough one this time. But we're going to give one more go tonight, and we are allowed to hunt raccoon and pig at night, so that's going to be our method. Florida is got to have more raccoons per square mile than probably any other state. I could be totally wrong about that, but that's the way I feel, and we have not seen a single raccoon in 5 days. It is very surprising. And right now at night, they're nocturnal animals. They should be roaming around looking for some food, and there's nothing. Really, really surprising. I think it has a lot to do with the recent flooding, but who knows? Who knows? It's a mystery. Back from the hunt, in bed, exhausted. Another hunt unsuccessful. Just skunked this trip. But it's still been amazing in so many ways. So no room for complaints. Morning. Just pulled out the crawdad trap. Nothing. We've been skunked in every which way this trip, so anyways, it is what it is. You know, you don't try, you never get, but it is a little bit defeating, and at times it is, because that's the thing with doing these sort of things, there's never any guarantee of success. Well, it's come to that time. We're packed up and heading out. It has been a real interesting trip with not too much luck on feeding ourselves, but there has been a lot of other things that we have come across that have been really enjoyable. You know, things we've found, sights we've seen, and it's just always a pleasure being out here. So thank you for watching. Really appreciate all of you. Please leave a comment, good or bad, it's all welcome. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Please like, and next video, go check out Flatlander. Go check out Cole at Flatlander, who you have been watching on the video too. He's got some really good hunting videos, and you'll love everything he puts out. So please support him. And until next time, adios.